Hello, good evening, guys. How are you doing? Once again, my name is Makafui. Welcome to another exciting video. So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my decisions and my decision of dropping out of school and then going into um, chasing my dreams. Basically, I quit my job and then I'm chasing my dreams, right? And I also dropped out of uni. People are questioning my decision, and I think in the previous video, I couldn't refer people to the video because I didn't really speak on it. So the thing is, I have always been passionate about marketing and then content creation. I've always been fascinated about how people are able to sit at the back of the camera and then teach someone in another part of the world something and then they understand it, or they're able to impact people's life through words, right? So I've always been that type of person who has always been fascinated about that. So always wanted to create content, always wanted to do it, but then I never had the means to. So up until I think I was 18, right? I finally had my phone and everything to create content, but then I didn't have the confidence. So it took me another 3 years. So I was 21 at the time, and then I started creating content, right? 2021. So it took me another 2 to 3 years to start creating content, and then I started and I stopped because I was always worried about the not bringing out very good content, and I was also worried about my education and not being successful in life. But then growing up and understanding the world of business, the world of commerce, with a little education that I have. See, I said I dropped out of uni. It doesn't mean I don't have like any tertiary education, or I don't have any proper education. No, I actually went to uni. I did a diploma in banking. I think I mentioned it before. So yes, I have some level of understanding of how the education system works, understand the business world, because I started working when I was 18 years, like officially, right? So yes, and I've come to the realization that the 9 to 5 thing doesn't really work for me because I've done a lot of 9 to 5 job, both hard labor, the regular jobs, and then office jobs like suit and tie type of jobs, right? I've done both over a period of time, like more than a year, and I just realized it doesn't work for me. I'm more of the type of person who likes to be expressive, who likes to explore, be creative, think about how things are made and how we can make them and what we can do better. And even just recently, thankfully, the education minister came to speak on the issue of the Ghana education system, where we are learning things that are not useful in the practical world, or are not practical at all. Things that are cake, old. They are not modern. They're not really learning anything modern in school. And one thing that actually made me not question my decision was that when I went to school and learned whatever I learned and went into the real world, right? I always realized that whatever I do in the office, anyone can be picked from the streets and trained within the space of 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll be able to do exactly what I do. There is no like special skill I'm contributing to the office. I can file, I can I can organize documents, I can schedule meetings. Anyone can do that. Why go to school for 3, 5, 6, 7 years just to come and do that same thing? You understand? While I can be more productive to the world, be more useful to the world. So yes, that's one of the reasons why I decided to pursue education. Truthfully speaking, our education system is a mess. I'm sure it's not just Ghana. There is this man on TikTok, Ray. He fixes these solar panels, right? And I really admire him. I have been following his page for a while, like for a very long time now, at least 2 or 3 years now. And he spoke about how he never had he didn't have basic education. Like he stopped school when he was in primary 3 or 4, something like that. You understand? And this is someone who speaks very well. This is someone who is very intelligent. If you listen to how he speaks, if you listen to his trend of thoughts, or the way he behaves and everything, the way he carries himself is bro. He's educated. He has educated himself, and I've come to the realization again that self-education is more impactful than the one we do in school. The one you do in school, you just do it to pass the exam. After you write your thesis or you write your quiz and finish your exams, you forget everything because new books are coming. you are supposed to learn new stuff just to pass the exam and meet the required GPA and get your first class or second class upper, wherever it may be, right? But when you learn, you are learning, when you are learning yourself, when you are self-taught, things you learn on your own are things you enjoy, you are passionate about, you are more curious about, right? And then you begin to develop yourself. There is a time in my life where I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm sure everybody read it. But that book, I came across it in my uncle's room, right? I never knew it to be a financial book. I thought it was just a storybook because it was like a Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was the title. Sounded like a storybook or something. Then I started reading the book. I was in secondary school by then. I'd already known what assets and liabilities is, the basics of business, right? But the more I read this book, the more interested I became. So someone at the time who never read, who barely read books, right? Besides them flat pamphlets we used to read in primary school, short stories, right? I read this whole book from cover to cover. Started buying the cash flow quadrants. I bought like his books, a dozen of books. And even with that one came another realization that reading a lot of books doesn't really help you. Take one book, you read it, you condense the information, you practice it. So after reading that book, I actually practiced that book, like I used it for my day-to-day life. And the wisdom I gathered from that book is like it's on top of my head. It's something that I remember on the top of my head. I know what an asset is, I know what the liability is. Sometimes because of that book, I judge myself when I'm making some type of expenditure, right? So those are things that I learned on my own. I enjoyed it and it stuck. But there are things that I learned in school I barely remember. I can't even tell you what I learned last semester or the semester before that. So me quitting, I don't think it's something I'm going to regret unless I am lazy or unless God doesn't want this path for me. But I put my life in God's hand and I believe He has given me the wisdom and the strength to make this decision. And He's behind me because think about it carefully. There are a lot of graduates who barely get jobs to do. I know, so in my previous job, right? I'm going to be like transparent with you. In my previous job, I was being paid about 1,800 cedis gross. Net salary was about 1,600 cedis, right? Before I even stopped the job, I missed my job like 2 or 3 times. 3 days, right? I missed job for 3 days. And then when my salary came, it came as 1,386 cedis. While I was in that job, a friend of mine, like a mutual friend, right, called me and was like, oh, this little sister of mine has just finished secondary school and was called for an interview, a job interview. So like I'd wanted you to take me to the interview. I couldn't go with them, but then later on, upon the conversations we had, this girl was working as a shop attendant. She was working 6 hours, a 6 hour shift. She was getting, they gave her the option of accommodation, which I advised her against. And they were giving her transportation allowance every week, 200 cedis, and she was making 1,800 cedis take home. That's like a net salary. She's taking 1,800 cedis home, getting straight 200 cedis every week, and she's eating at the job. If I asked, and this job that I left, that I told you I made 1,386 cedis, I can show you the receipts if you want. I might probably attach it to the video. This job that I made that much, right? There were a lot of my colleagues who had degrees, including myself, who were in that job. You understand? And were making that much. But I bet you not that if any of those people were asked to go and sit in the supermarket and then get paid that much, they would reject it. They'll reject it because of the ego, because of the social class you think you have now as a result of your degree or going to uni. So now you feel like you are bigger than the job. Yeah, me myself, I've worked like I said, I started working when I was 18. I've been a security man before. I've worked as a shop attendant before. I've worked in a bar for my dad before. I've sold in a boutique before. I've worked in a BPO. I've done worked in a rental shop before. Like I've done a lot of jobs. So I've done delivery before. I was once a delivery guy, right? Like I've done like a whole lot of jobs. And so one thing about it is when you do this job and you leave it and you move to the next one, that's how my life has been. I've always moved from one better job to another. So good, better, then the best one. The best is yet to come. I think this is the best, right? The moment you move to the next stage, you are like, no, I'm not going to do this ever again. And when you move next, like, no, I'm never ever going to do it ever again. I understand that, but because you've gone to uni and there is a job that pays better than the office job where you dress beautifully, wear a suit and tie, and when sitting in a AC office, you have your own desk and your own PC, and you think you're on top of the world, bro. You're not getting anywhere. Why sit in an office for 31 days and end up making 2,000, 2,500 cedis, 3,000, 3,600 cedis? Like, why do that? 4,000 cedis at the end of the month. And even with this, you are making expenditures. You are taking car, food, all of that. Because you are in the office, you don't even drink pure water. You need to drink bottled water just to match up with the environment, right? So all of this unnecessary expenditure, bro, I bet you not, if you sit at home doing nothing, you'd be as comfortable as you were when you were at the job. So these are like my reasoning. I know there are some jobs you need huge qualifications, like bigger opportunities. When bigger opportunities come, you need good certifications. Like, you want to be a doctor, there are some government appointees and the rest, bro. But I'm not that kind of guy. I understand. There are people. School is a very good thing, especially if you had the best education. But if you are from a middle class family, or you cannot afford the best of the best, or you cannot, not everybody is supposed to be a doctor, not everybody is supposed to be a minister or a president or a farmer, not even everybody is supposed to be a content creator, right? I think you should just look into yourself and look for the thing you are passionate about and think about how to do it and do it well, and also expand. I realize a lot of people, when they are doing anything, they're just focused on their environment, just the people around them. But think internationally, like, let's broaden our horizon, let's open up our mind, let's open up ourselves to possibilities. So yeah, I think I would end the video here. This is the reason why I stopped school, and I think this better explains it. I don't think the education system is failing our people is flawed. I just feel like some bits of it needs to be changed in order to make it a better thing, a good thing for our people, right? We still need doctors, we still need engineers, we still need pilots, we still need people. We still need people in higher places with proper education standing or education background, right? We need knowledgeable people. We need people who would impact the society. So kudos to anyone who is going to get their masters or charter in accounts, do any of those stuff. Kudos to you, because we need you. But people like me who are not passionate about stuff like that, then this is the path for me. Like, I've discovered what I'm passionate about and what I know. I know there are people who discover their passion and come to the realization of what they feel like they were brought to the earth to do when they are in their 40s or when they are in their 50s. I'm in my early 20s. I'm almost in my mid 20s, right? And I'm doing this, so the sky is the limit. See you in the next video. My name is McCaffrey. If you've not liked the video yet, like it. If you've not subscribed, try and subscribe or follow me, and send me a hi or leave something in the comment section for me. It actually helps me boost my morale. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.